All right. We live? Let me see. We got anyone in chat? Got no one in chat. I need someone to show up because this is the first time I'm debuting the new mic setup. So if no one shows up, then I can't really find out if this mic setup is good or not. So we kind of need some people to pop up. What a lonely chat. Oh, okay, there we go. Hey, M, you were the first person here. Congratulations. How is the mic setup? Can you hear fine? Can you hear well? Well is better than fine. Can you hear well? Okay, got a lot of... Oh, hey, hello, perfect. Does the sound better than normal? It's very good? It's very good? Okay, so these are the small steps that we're taking to gradually improve the stream quality. I have figured out how to finally... You see this mic? This is the Blue Yeti mic. The Blue Yeti mic is a good mic. It's the mic that most people use. I normally use that when recording videos. I couldn't figure out how to use that with the stream setup, which is why we always have terrible audio. Today I figured it out. It's actually not that difficult. It's actually shockingly easy. So, we've got good audio. Here's the bad news. My webcam looks the same. Good news is, I think you guys like the webcam. Kind of. So, that's not the worst thing in the world. And other good news is, I'm gonna get a webcam that's better than this one. You know, better than what my default webcam setting is pretty soon. So, Ace of Spades 292 says, yeah, sounds well. That's how you use well, proper grammar. So, we got the mic. Here are the things that I said I would improve. Mic, that was 1. Webcam, that's 2. That's on its way. 3 is internet. Internet was tricky because, as it turns out, my laptop does not have an Ethernet port. It doesn't have an Ethernet port. So, I got an Ethernet cable, but my laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port. Here's the solution. Who notices that I have a different... Forrest says, are you in a hallway? Good job, Forrest. You've noticed that I'm in a different background. Who else notices that I'm in a different background? Anyone else notice I'm in a different background? Well, I've already given it away at this point. I have moved... I live in a row home. How do I explain this? I live in a row home. I don't have an Ethernet cable. I have moved downstairs for the purposes of the stream to be closer to the modem so that my internet is better. So notice how there's no lag in chat or anything like that. I think this is the new I guess the new setup that we're going to run with for a little bit. I'm going to try and make it look a little bit nicer. I'm not in a hallway. Let me see if I can tilt and you guys can find out a little bit. Can you guys see anything past this chair? Is it even worth it for me? I don't want to do like a house tour. This is not a house tour stream. There's stuff behind me, basically. I'm in the ground floor. This is our living room, essentially. Row your home. I didn't know what a row home was either, so don't worry about that. But apparently that's what I live in, what I rent from. So, normally I wouldn't want to stream down here because roommates and stuff like that, but my one roommate's asleep, other roommate's not here, so I think we can run with this with the setup going forward as long as I kind of give roommates advance notice. So why am I doing the stream so early today? And why didn't I announce it? The reason I didn't announce it is because I didn't plan ahead. The reason I'm doing it so early today is because today's Memorial Day, and I do have plans later. So, for those of you who are not from America, which based on my viewership, I think that's like a solid chunk of you. For those of you who are not from America, here's what Memorial Day is. It's like our version of the Fire Festival. Is that accurate? Anybody who's from America who wants to verify that this is true? OFF215 is spamming. Are you saving the stream for later? Yes. All my streams now go on the Mr. Morge 2 channel. So, you can find this most likely tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. Ace of Spades 292 says, nah, that's July 4th. No, not really. July 4th is our Independence Day. Totally different. Totally different. Memorial Day is the Fire Festival. Isn't that what it is? Basically, we celebrate those who passed away. It's our Fire Festival. In fact, maybe we thought of it first. Who even knows? I don't know how long Japan's had the Fire Festival celebration. Maybe we thought of it first. Hey, Potential Pizza, what's up? Oh no, Pirate Hero, I misread that. It's just Pirate Hero. Pirate Hero, the newest pay to ban era. Pirate Hero, the newest mod, I can already tell he's a troublemaker. There's only one mod who has ever had to have their privileges taken away, and that was Don Quixote D. Joker. I used to do a thing where, like, first person to answer a certain question would get to be mod. I had to stop doing that after I accidentally modded the most unmoddable person of all time. This guy, Don Quixote D. Joker, I don't know, he was really on top of it. He answered a question first. I gave him a mod. He went mad with power in like 10 minutes flat. I think shortest time of turnaround of like, fastest cycle of rise to power and then collapse and confiscation of said power I've ever seen in my stream. The Pirate Hero says that dude was wild. Pirate Hero, you're not that far off. You're like following in his footsteps. Alright guys, so this is going to be a short stream because I do have some other stuff planned today. So we got an hour, so, let's just chill. We've got nothing in particular that we want to talk about except for all of the crazy shit that happened in Chapter 1014. So, to start with, I want to talk mostly about Chapter 1014 because there's so many little possibilities that come out of it. I'm going to be looking a little bit at questions and then a little bit just talking about that and kind of spitballing thoughts. First of all, Joy Boy. How do you guys feel about the Joy Boy situation where it looks like Joy Boy's, at least it doesn't seem like it's going to be a reincarnation thing, which I'm a big, big fan of. I do not want the reincarnation situation. Christian Dhanantawari was saying, do you think Luffy will be saved? I'm going to get to that in a second, because that is basically the next topic. I guess I can talk about that first real quick, and then we circle back to Joy Boy. So, how do I think Luffy's going to be saved? My initial thoughts were Carp. I thought that it's going to be the Carp. I thought that some Carp are going to save him, pull him back up to land. One thing I was forgetting about was the submarine. I found that, I got reminded at least of the submarine possibility, I guess, in just post-chapter discussions I saw on Twitter and such. So the submarine is probably, it's a little tricky. I think the submarine's a more logical solution. I kind of prefer the Carp solution. Hey, Princess Taco, what's up? The stream won't end in failure because our internet connection is very, very, very good down here. I don't have my screen displayed, but I have full bars. It's not another one bar situation. Things that I don't think are going to happen. I don't think Awakening is what's going to save him. Guys, I think it would be pretty bad if Luffy's Awakening saved him, because in that case, it's just how many power-ups in a row do you want to cram into like a very short amount of time, because the Conqueror's Haki thing was really, really big. Conqueror's Haki was really, really, really big, right? And Awakening is what many of us feel to be the next really, 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 really huge upgrade that Luffy can get. That's the next really, really major upgrade on the horizon for Luffy. That and Gear 5th, but Gear 5th at the very least is probably something that he sort of figures out or plans, whereas Awakening, it feels more similar to Conqueror's Haki, at least in my mind, in that it's something that it's kind of a snap realization for him, or something just clicks for him and suddenly he's able to do it. It's not, I don't think Awakening will be something that he's kind of, it's not like a train. Well, we don't know enough about Awakening for me to say this for sure, but I do feel that the Awakening moment would likely be similar to Conqueror's Haki, where suddenly he's able to access this new ability that he's just now suddenly, like, it's basically a blooming sort of ability, right? So to me, the idea that 4 chapters back, maybe 4 chapters back, Luffy unlocked Conqueror's Haki, and now suddenly Awakening, that also happens for him as well, to save him when he's supposed to die. I just don't think that's a good idea. I definitely prefer the idea that he just gets saved either by the Carp or by the submarine. So I don't know what you guys prefer, Carp or submarine, but I'm personally on Team Carp. Here's the reason. Submarine makes more sense logically. It's more of a setup thing that, there's a submarine traveling around Wano. It can probably following the island of Onigashima as it's flying away with their captain on board. So submarine makes sense. They can drop in, pick up Luffy from the submarine. I prefer the Carp because it just feels a little more... The Carp is more of a soft setup, I suppose, in that Luffy got to Wano in the first place on the Carp. We know that, I think I think animals tend to have a soft spot for Luffy, if that makes sense a little bit. It feels to me, the carp feel to me like one of those sort of One Piecey things where it can happen and it's softly set up enough that, like, yeah, we know that they're carp that travel around and can bring people to shore. That's happened in the past. And it feels like a bit more of a sort of fate sort of thing. It's a little more of a 1 in a million chance sort of thing that Luffy survives. Whereas, and this is a case where I would actually kind of prefer that to happen, where it feels like, if I were to say the callback is that Luffy's lost to Crocodile at the palace, where Luffy should have died, but that bubble of water came back down and fell on him, right? It feels like a more little, small, coincidental little thing that happens, that things just happen to work out in a way that Luffy happens to survive. I would prefer the carp in that situation, because the submarine, it's a weird thing, but the submarine almost feels more automatic or more guaranteed that, okay, of course Luffy falling in the water, it's no threat because the submarine can come and save him. Whereas the carp, it's kind of like, man, it's crazy how Luffy was able to survive that, but these carp were able to carry him to shore once again. I don't know. Hey, Teddy/Dark Mugiwara says, like the stream. I like that guy. Big fan of that guy. Listen to what he has to say. Bob says, who would be in the submarine? I don't know. I know it's not an automatic submarine. Isn't it Beppo and Sachi and that gang? Isn't that the submarine gang? What happens to the Wano? Okay, so Victor Mays asked, what happened to the Wano report? Wano report is coming. Here's what happened. Wano report is coming. O'Hara and I wanted to do a drunk Wano report because I had 100k subscribers. Now it feels a little bit long ago. I think it's been over a month at this point that I've had 100k subscribers. I had 100k, he obviously had 100k a while back. His channel's actually really going off now. Check him out if you want to see some Jujutsu Kaisen stuff, because O'Hara's gotten into that as well, and I think he's going to be one of the biggest Jujutsu Kaisen, if not the biggest Jujutsu Kaisen YouTubers. I don't really know if that scene's developed yet, but I think he has the potential to be. Wano report is coming. It's just that basically he's in Japan right now, which is a very, very different time zone for me. If you don't know, it's like the worst possible time zone difference that you could ask for. So we can talk, and we've obviously talked just to talk in recent times. I guess it's been a couple months at this point, but you know, we can still talk and stuff like that, and that's fine. But if we want to do like a celebration stream where we can both get drunk, it's a little hard to coordinate that when my morning would be his night and his night would be my morning, because it just means we have to commit to kind of like a specific day on a weekend that kind of works for both of us, and one of us kind of has to bite the bullet and just like be drinking in the morning. You know what I mean? Adrian Hakeem, Joyboy isn't the name but more of a title or moniker. Someone who is, yep, so that was the next discussion. It's more of a title for someone who is strong and lead the world towards a new dawn. Yep, 100% agree. Luffy saved by the Big Mom Pirates. Adrian Hakeem just brought up a great possibility. What if Luffy is saved by the Big Mom Pirates? That would be insane. I don't know if that would... What's the motivations there? If they want to capture him once he falls into the sea, capture him for Big Mom. Would be a terrible, terrible idea for them because they have no idea how strong he is right now. But that would be interesting. Luffy saved by the Big Mom Pirates. I do hope we get a quick check-in and see what the hell the Big Mom Pirates are doing right now. If they've... Like, there's no reason that the Big Mom Pirates should not get to the mainland of Wano. It's not difficult to get to the mainland of Wano, right? At this point. You just gotta sail over there. So, the Big Mom Pirates, I fully believe that they should be making some appearance during the course of this battle in general. Whether they get involved in what's going on in Onigashima or not, they should at least be able to get to the mainland of Wano and at least be kind of following along with the island as it goes along, right? A-Y says Luffy walks on water. I don't know. So some people have said if he does Devil Fruit Awakening, he can make his sandals into rubber and then, yeah, he could essentially walk on water. That would be kind of crazy, but I don't think that's going to happen. We saw him fall into the water. Like, I don't know. We saw him fall into the water. He's in the water. Like, he's underwater right now, right? This can't really be like a Katakuri type situation where we see that panel of Katakuri stabbing Luffy through the stomach and we're like, oh, he's lost half his stomach, but then next panel we kind of see, okay, it wasn't that, like next chapter we see it wasn't that bad. We saw that he's underwater. Where are my mods? What is Aditya Meena doing? Do we have no Pirate Hero? Pirate Hero, come on. Come on, buddy. I'm counting on you. we've got some spammers. Okay, let me at least acknowledge the spammer. Aditya Mina says, "Read this, please. In the new visual we can see Luffy moving and walking in the water. What does that mean? What does that mean? Can anyone comprehend what that meant?" He said, "In the new visual we can see Luffy moving and walking on water. What's the new visual? I don't know what that means. Someone help me out." Miguel Cluatre says, "I think you mentioned that Law might die in Wano because his arc ends here. But what is the point of him being Trafalgar D Law if we don't see him part of the fight against the World Nobles?" But that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because then that would mean that everybody who's a D should just be allowed to survive till the end of the series. What about Portcast D Ace? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think every D gets to survive to the end of the series. Gigatronma says, "Could Luffy turn the ocean to rubber with Awakening?" Good God, so the Awakening theories are just going off. So I don't think that Awakening has the power to do that whatsoever. My understanding is that Devil Fruits should never really have power over the water. I think Awakiji's is where we see like kind of the limits of it, where you can kind of freeze the sea because that it's just like the cold energy he's radiating is strong enough that it will naturally turn water to ice. But I don't think that once you're in the water that you can use Devil Fruit abilities to the extent that you could actually transform the ocean into whatever you wanted. I think that would be kind of insane. Miguel Gonzalez, thanks a lot. What if Luffy came back with Amnesia? Miguel, I have half a mind to ban you for such a terrible idea. I'm joking, obviously, but good God, if Luffy came back with Amnesia, I think that's one more wrench this arc does not need. One more wrench in the works that this arc does not need. An arc already very, very filled with a lot of different wrenches and a lot of different works. I think that's really, really fucking pushing it. Wellerton Hodecker, thanks a lot. Wano Island being on the back of a giant turtle. That's a good theory. That's the voice Momo's hearing. Hey, who's seen Discworld? Discworld's such a cool, well, this isn't an original Discworld idea, but it's, it falls along the idea of, like, the world being on the back of a giant turtle. In general, in mythology, I don't want to speak out of things that I don't 100% know about, but the idea of, so like there's a couple ideas at play here, right? I want to say basically it might be, no, I'm not gonna misattribute which mythology this goes to or which spirituality this goes to, but the idea of the world being on the back of an elephant that's on the back of turtles, that's a common idea. It might actually be Hinduism. Which is kind of embarrassing because I was a Hindu growing up. I'm not anymore. I don't know if it's Hinduism, but the fact that we've seen Zoe, right, and Zoe we already got this idea of an island on the back of an elephant. Now that that's actually a part of the storyline, the fact that the way that Wano moves, or the way that Wano is structured, does seem like very much like a shell structure. You could easily imagine a turtle having that structure, and the fact that it sounds like Onigashima was not always where it was. Based on what Marco hinted, based on the fact that we've seen that it's very mobile, Kaido can move it around. To me, these things sort of indicate that I would guess that it's very, very, very possible that Wano is also on the back of a turtle. Because these two islands, Zoe and Wano, they've always been connected. One is on the back of a giant elephant, one being on the back of a giant turtle. I really, really think that would be a really cool reveal. Stuff like that also gives me hope. Just anything that kind of suggests that there's more to find out than we've already been seeing. Anything like that kind of gives me hope that this arc isn't just going to end with this battle, because there's more questions to explore and more ideas that have to kind of be fully realized. So, Wano, back of a giant turtle, I'm a big, big fan. It also might even be related to what Momonosuke is going to bring to this arc, because one, we saw him command Zunisha. What if there is a giant turtle underneath Wano and Momo is able to command that as well? That would be insane. Also, thanks a lot. Luffy gets possessed by Joy Boy and beats Kaido. No, I do not like that whatsoever. Luffy getting possessed by Joy Boy. I don't like any part of the sentence you just said. Luffy gets possessed by Joy Boy. Don't like that, because that implies some sort of literal spiritual reincarnation of the spirit of Joy Boy into Luffy's body. And two, it implies that Luffy would beat Kaido not through his own abilities, but because he's just possessed by the body of somebody else, like the spirit of somebody much stronger and more important than him from the past. Don't like that. PPX, thanks a lot. I have the theory that Onigashima will be stopped by Momo. Sort of. Yep. And Zoro will be the one cutting it to pieces. So the first part that you just said, that is a somewhat common idea. I've seen that in multiple places before. That Onigashima will be stopped by Momonosuke. I'm 100% on board with that. Really, really like that idea. Zoro cutting it to pieces. I don't know so much about that one. I think, like, you could say that. You could also say, what if Luffy breaks the entire thing? Like, there's other options. It could be Zoro, but I've no reason to believe it would be Zoro over anybody else. You know what I mean? Linskov, thanks a lot. I saw your video about the ancient weapons being linked to the hockey types. I like that theory. That's one of my favorite theories that I've done. And had a prop... you had a theory. What if the voice of all things is Uranus? That doesn't really make sense to me. The voice of all things is Uranus. Because that seems to be an ability that a lot of people have. You know what I mean? Like Momonosuke, Luffy. I don't know if that qualifies as an ancient weapon necessarily. It just seems like an ability that some people have. So, I don't know. Cersei DM, we actually see Beppo, Sachi, and Penguin fighting on Onigashima? Oh my god, you're right. So I guess there are only... You are 100% right. I kind of remember that. There are only nameless characters in the submarine right now. I doubt Luffy would be saved by nameless characters, which means we are back 100% on the carp train. I like the carp train. I'm a big fan of that. We got any other good ideas besides the carp? So, if we rule out carp, we rule out Devil Fruit Awakening. If we rule out carp, we rule out Devil Fruit Awakening, we rule out... Like, let's pretend these things don't happen. Pretend it's not the submarine, pretend it's not the carp, pretend it's not the Big Mom Pirates, pretend it's not Devil Fruit Awakening. If it's none of those things, do we have any other ideas? I'm just interested to see if anybody's got anything. Matan says Thomas Teapot, very funny. The octopus. Octopuses. I like octopuses. That could work. Octopuses have played a big role in Wano so far. Not really. But they were in the bathhouse scene and they were at the start of the Wano arc. So maybe third time's the charm and they actually play a big role. I don't know. Kawamatsu to the rescue? Wait a second. Kawamatsu. Who knows what Kawamatsu's up to right now? As far as I know, that guy's just bumming around. I don't think he's contributing whatsoever to this final battle. So, Luffy Moses with his Conqueror's Haki says name named. No. Please no. Please nothing like that. That would be terrible. Come on. No. Or, sometimes you gotta think about it. Luffy's Conqueror's Haki, his spirit's so strong it floats him to the surface. I'm not gonna say it's bad till I see it. Gigatronma donated $5 to tell me that Thomas Teapot will save Luffy. Thank you, Gigatronma. Yusuf Abdullah, what if Jinbei ditches his fight and jumps off the island and saves Luffy? I don't think that's happening. That just seems like a little abrupt and a little forced. You know what I mean? Like, we literally just saw a panel of Jinbei fighting Who's Who. I like the Kawamatsu idea, because Kawamatsu has been a big... I don't want to say... Okay, I'm not going to shit-talk Kawamatsu, but he has been easily the least contributory? The least useful of these scabbards over the course of this entire Act 3, right? Entire Act 3, what has Kawamatsu done? Nothing. I don't think he's contributed in the slightest. Even in the Kaido fight, I don't know if he was that big. He really was. I think he was one of the lesser contributors to that whole, battle. So, yeah, if Kawamatsu comes in and kind of saves, then I think that'd be a good idea. Mark Zakun says, I saw your Gear 5th video a few months ago. Opinion on a possible Gear 5th now that we have Conqueror's Haki coding reveal. You still believe? I believe that Gear 5th will... My God, guys, what are you doing? Why are you donating? What is this? I can't keep up. You guys got to slow down. Gear 5th, I do think we will see by the end of Wano, but I don't think that it will be... I would personally prefer it not to be during this Act 3 fight. Again, my hopes, as you all know, is that they do not win here. I would rather Gear 5th be something that Luffy has to go back, work on, come back stronger with, right? I think just the fact that Luffy still gets tired out from using Gear 4th does kind of suggest that maybe he's not quite ready for Gear 5th just yet, but who knows, because he was ready for Conqueror's Haki a lot faster than anyone expected, even me. Darnell, thanks a lot. The chapter feels like a setup to your Usopp and possibly Nami being captured. I would really, really love if Usopp and Nami are captured. They don't have opponents right now. To me, that, especially for Usopp, Nami already kind of got a really brave, like, under fire, under capture sort of moment. The ulti moment, I think, proved everything that she had to prove. But Usopp still, especially because of the inner thought process that we got while Nami was captured, the inner thought process we were getting from Usopp was kind of like, Nami, there's no shame in, in lying. Just don't bite the bullet over this. To me, I would really love to see Usopp swapped and put into that situation, and Usopp being tortured for information. So I really hope that they are captured. I hope for the defeat, etc., etc. Sayam Kaker says, "What if Sunny saves Luffy like Mary?" No, I don't. I don't want that being used twice in that sort of manner. You know what I mean? Not necessarily in that sort of manner. I think that's a little too abrupt because the Going Merry showing up, that had a lot of setup behind it. The spirit of the Going Merry was, that was hinted at to be a thing multiple times throughout the story. You know what I mean? Like, that was all of Water 7 was kind of building up to that moment where Merry's sort of, the spirit of Merry coming into play for one last big hurrah. There was just so much more story set up for that than with the Thousand Sunny doing it would be way too abrupt, I think. Ramar Holt says, Momo uses Voice of All Things to tell Sea Kings to save Luffy. That is a thing, but I don't think that would be fair to Shirahoshi, because I do think that commanding the Sea Kings in particular, that should be a Shirahoshi special. I think would really cheapen it if Momonosuke could do that as well. So I'm going to say no to that, in my opinion, like whether I would like it or if I think it's a good idea. Omarwa says Jean Bart is still on Law Submarine and he still owes Luffy. Okay, so Jean Bart is still there and he does still owe Luffy, so that is actually a really good point. So Submarine is back into play, I guess. I did not think that Fodder would ever save Luffy if they were on the submarine, but Jean Bart doing it, I could be on board with that. I could be on board with Jean Bart. I like the Carp still, but I'm not married to any of these one ideas. Personally, I would love it best if Oda surprised us with something none of us are thinking of, but that also makes a lot of sense. Omar Gaskin, always good to see you. Hey Morge, do you think the Scabbards will start dropping like flies for Tragedy of Act 3? If not, what could be the tragedy? Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Omar, because the fact is that it looks like we've lost a couple Scabbards here. I'm not counting Ashura Doji whatsoever. Kiku, it does feel like that was written to be a death scene. I don't know if I necessarily enjoyed that as a death scene for Kiku. It did feel like a little quick and abrupt, and I wasn't really on board with her final dialogue. I didn't think that it was really that earned a sort of poetic monologue. It just didn't feel that strong, to be honest. But Kinemon, I hope Kinemon gets a full... Kinemon, I think it's very important for Kinemon to die, for Momonosuke's character. Kinemon, no matter what, I believe has to die because Kinemon is he's that parental like Momo's whole thing is learning to grow up, be his own man, come into his own as a leader, start filling his father's footsteps. That doesn't work when you have a guardian like Kinemon holding your hand every step of the way and essentially babying you and taking care of you. That was Kinemon's role from start to finish in the story, at least with relationship to Momonosuke. And Kinemon was really the one who was spearheading this whole plan, this whole organization. Momonosuke is just the figurehead at the end of the day. Kinemon was the real leader of this whole alliance. So Kinemon's death is very, very important. I would like it if a lot of the Scabbards did die. I don't think that Ashura Doji... I don't think that all of them are going to die, though. For example, Ashura Doji, if that was his death, then that was just a very, very bad death scene for him. I think that was a clear fake out to me. Kiku, I could believe this being her death. Kinemon, I think a full chapter, next chapter, or a half chapter being dedicated to his death is very possible. I think a lot of the Scabbards will die. I mean, Conjurer just died. But I don't know what I mean by a lot, but I do think some Scabbards will die by the end of this. I don't think all of them will die. And tragedy-wise, I used to think that Law might die in this act. Now I don't think that Law will necessarily die in this act. He might, but I think that would be a bit much. I think Law could easily die at the finale of the arc rather than in Act 3, for example. I do think Law still dies this arc, though, if that makes sense. Behenort, don't give up. Don't give up, Morge. What are you doing laying on the ground? Have you forgotten ways? Never give up, Morge, never give up. Have I given up? I have not given up. Has anything I've said so far implied I've given up? I don't think I've given up. I think the raid's still going to fail. I do question myself a lot now, but I still believe. Whether or not the raid fails, I think we'll be finding out soon. Act 3, that's just what we're waiting on. We're waiting on the end of an act. If the act ends in failure, then it ends in failure, but, that's basically it. The end of the line for the raid fail theory is coming up soon. It is exciting. I am not as hyped as some other people are over recent events. Some people are taking it kind of at face value that, this means that they're going to fail, this means they're going to fail. I need to see Luffy come back and actually lose in a way that affects the alliance, and particularly the Straw Hats. Even Kaido's own monologue tended to somewhat imply that would be what really indicates a sense of failure or loss of hope or defeat. And that's what I'm waiting on. All Blue Flame Sanji, who wins, Ace versus Smoothie? The juice should burn, right? And also, why am I... you tried to catch me with that second sentence. Ace versus Smoothie, I don't want to get into power scaling stuff like that. If you really want to hear my opinion, I'm going to give Smoothie credit in terms of, like, for example, I don't think, like, Ace, in my opinion, was not portrayed as actually the second commander of the crew. He clearly filled that position. It was made explicitly clear that he filled that position and had that title because that position happened to be missing because Odin left, right? It's not because of Ace's strength being like, oh, I'm number 2 on the Whitebeard crew. To me, it looked like Jozu was the to me, it looked like it was Marco, Jozu, and Vista as Whitebeard's big 3. Marco, Jozu, and Vista, and Ace was kind of that hotshot, up-and-coming guy who, like, would probably have surpassed all 3 of them in a short period of time soon after, but I don't know if it was ever implied that Ace was really, all that compared to those. Because, like, Jozu was, like, blocking, like, Mihawk, hurting Aokiji. Like, there was a lot of stuff that Jozu did that was very impressive. Same with Vista. Like, I just don't know if those guys are, like, Ace is above those guys. You know what I mean? So, by that logic, I don't know if Ace is above Smoothie, even though Smoothie hasn't done anything. I just don't know. I think I would not be surprised if Ace was. I'm just saying I wouldn't put him there unless we get some more flashbacks or something. If we, for example, got to see something like Yamato versus Smoothie, that would give us a really good idea, because we also got to see Yamato versus Ace, Tired Brandon, Oda is just going to kill off Luffy to troll the theorists. Oda would literally never do that, but I like the way you think, man. That would be kind of insane. That is one of the things that would never happen in One Piece, except towards the end, maybe. I think maybe towards the end that's possible. Well, I've actually made a full theory about that. I do actually think that is how the story's going to end. Le Man was doing a reread, and I love the thought of Usopp versus the numbers, but also noticed Apu commanding the numbers. Thoughts on Usopp versus Apu / the numbers? So, I like the idea of Usopp versus the numbers. I don't really have anything about Apu versus the numbers. I don't think that's really something that's been strongly set up that I would believe in. I think Usopp versus the numbers is like a really, really good idea. I don't like the fact that Usopp's seeming opponent, Page 1, got taken away, does give me high hopes that this is not the final battle and that Usopp will actually get to take on the numbers as his final battle. It's just such a cool image of, David versus Goliath, but they're like 10 Goliaths, and it's just one dude with a slingshot taking on these gigantic monsters. Like, think back to the Straws versus Oars and what a struggle that was and how far Usopp's come now. Sayam Kakar, thanks a lot. Again, I think Kaido visited Odin in jail and Odin told him he will be taken down by Joy Boy. Kaido wanted to confirm. That is a cool theory. That is a cool theory. If we get more flashbacks to Kaido and Odin's relationship, that would be really interesting. I think the final words that they spoke to each other about, getting stronger, etc., the sense of honor that we got to get hinted at from Kaido from there, and kind of how Odin's death inspired him, there's a lot to dig into there. I think we'll get more out of it once we start seeing Kaido's backstory and how he got to where he was when he met Odin, and then what he did after that. So a lot to explore there. Josie Despot, what if Luffy, who summons the Sea Kings, maybe it's some sort of connection / ability he inherited from Joy Boy? No, I don't like the ability of Luffy summoning Sea Kings. I prefer that being just Shirahoshi. Otherwise it really cheapens Shirahoshi's abilities. That's just me personally, but I think that's what makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want multiple characters being able to do the Sea King thing. Otherwise, just what's the point? Why? Like, it's an ancient weapon that has that ability. So if Luffy can hear the Sea Kings, right? Like Roger could, but if everybody can just command the Sea Kings, then what's the point of all the hype surrounding the Sea King thing? Omar Gaskin, thanks a lot again. What are your thoughts on Ace's role in Wano so far? I might be a little controversial, but I have not liked Ace's role in Wano so far. It hasn't felt like anything to me that there's nothing that it doesn't feel like there's a purpose to any of it to me yet so far, other than to kind of just bring up Ace's name again, if that makes sense. And maybe that's unfair, but like, he's clearly been an inspiration for certain characters, for Tama, for Yamato. But I'm kind of thinking, like, what is the point? Is it a setup for Luffy to sort of surpass Ace in certain regards, for Luffy to take up what Ace left behind, because Ace clearly left some. He inspired Yamato and Tama before leaving, and kind of gave them a hope of like being able to leave the island, being able to become something more, etc. But is that just. I just don't know how I feel about that, because by that, like, you can kind of just drop Ace into any arc and any island then, in that case, and, like, kind of just be like, oh, well, Ace was at Dressrosa, and he gave hope to Rebecca. Ace was here. He gave hope to, I don't know, Brownbeard or something. Like, I would like, personally, if Ace is being if he's being involved in certain arcs, for it to have, like, a significant meaning, rather than just reminding us of the person whose footsteps Luffy's following in, because... to be honest, like, it feels like Luffy's already leaps and bounds ahead of where Ace ever was as a pirate. I would really, really like Ace's inclusion in the story. This is me personally. If Ace is being brought back into the story, for it to be more so a reminder of, like, Luffy, in terms of Luffy, like, where Luffy once fell short, right? Because Marineford was his ultimate failure, and what Luffy had to learn from that, rather than just reminding us that Ace exists and that Luffy's now going to check off a few things that Ace was once going to check off. I don't know. That might just be me. Maybe if I reread the arc, I'll feel differently. Xavier Wooten, thanks a lot. Has Kaido's showings impressed you this arc? Also, if they put him ahead of the other Yonko and the Admirals? It's just very hard to say, because the characters that Kaido's fighting are already hard characters to kind of map. It's like Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Law, etc. Like, these aren't other top-tier characters. So far, we just know that Kaido is considered a top tier in the One Piece world, so is Big Mom. We haven't really seen them again. If I would see him against an Admiral or a Shanks or something like that, I get a better idea of it. So far, he seemed impressive to me. I mean, yeah, I think he seemed impressive. He does not seem as untouchable as I think a lot of people thought he was earlier on. I mean, even I, like, after he one-shotted Luffy, it did feel like the gap is basically like heaven and earth. But it does seem much more doable now. But he still seems very impressive and clearly the strongest one around. So if that's what Oda's going for, I think he definitely hit that. Yusuf Abdullah, thanks a lot. Do all the Strahds get defeated if the raid fails? It's hard to say. Maybe you need one of them to survive to be able to make an escape for everybody. But I do think that a general crushing sense that, like, they as a group did not succeed is important. Erflexto, nice name. Gear 2nd, Blood Vessels, Gear 3rd. Okay, I know where this is going. Gear 3rd, Bones, Gear 4th, Muscles, Gear 5th. Maybe it affects his nervous system in some way. I swear I saw this on Twitter somewhere. I don't know what that would be. That seems a little too scientific for Luffy, but then again, so was the Blood Vessels thing, and that was a real shock to me, that Luffy even thought to do that. So, yeah, it's in the realm of possibilities. Would I like it? I have no possible way of imagining how you would incorporate nervous system and rubber combination. I literally cannot imagine what that would look like. Omar Gaskin, thanks a lot. I agree about the Ace stuff, but Oda could be trying to do something like with Yamato and Ace with the whole not liking their fathers thing, right? Yeah, so I guess I have to see where it goes. I'm not, like, disparaging it right off the bat. I'm just saying, from what I've seen so far, I don't really get the point of it. It does feel like Oda knows Ace is a very, very popular character and made a big splash. I would just rather it not be the case to, like, invoke Ace whenever, just to invoke Ace, because it gets you kind of reading or whatever, or it gets you kind of interested. Like, oh, it would be a little more interesting if Yamato knew Ace or something. Like, that doesn't do anything for me right now. If there's something a little more meaningful that Oda can go for with it, maybe we'll find out more when we get a little deeper into Yamato's storyline. Hopefully we get deeper into Yamato's storyline, but maybe if and when we do, then we get a little more context as to why meeting with Ace meant a lot for her. Context-wise. Meeting meant a lot for her, beyond just the surface level context of, daddy issues. Ma7 Mood, Amen. Do you like the 15-30, 60-13, 15 setup or no? It depends on if we're getting that. It really depends on if we're getting that. I don't know if that's what it is anymore. I literally don't know. What he's referring to there is the number of chapters per act. So I think the idea was 15 chapters for Act 1, 30 chapters for Act 2. Then a lot of us had the theory that it's 45 chapters for Act 3. That turned out to be wrong, so now a lot of us feel that it might be 60 chapters for Act 3, which does seem actually in the realm of possibility. I think that would have it end at about 1017. I think last I thought about it, I think that was what I landed on. But then it's hard to imagine 30 chapters for Act 4 and then 15 chapters for Act 5. I just don't know if that adds up. It might have just been a coincidence that the first act was 50 and the second chapter was 30. You know what I mean? Might literally be a coincidence. Wobble Nugget. Ace is a card related to Kaido Crew, which is maybe why he wanted to save him at Marineford. If you're saying that maybe Ace had a longer, deeper connection to Kaido that we have yet to find out about, I'd be on board with that. I doubt Kaido would just go to Marineford because there's a guy named Ace who's about to be executed. I don't think Kaido's just like, Ace. Oh my god, this guy's long lost member of my crew. Not letting a perfectly fitting card name like that get away. Let's declare war on the world. I don't know if Kaido is thinking along those lines. Shinkai9/Kami16 says, do you think Gear 5th will be like 3rd? Don't really know what that means. I think that Gear 3rd is Gear 3rd and Gear 5th is it's really its own thing, right? The gears have always felt like their own thing. I think that Gear 5th, I've talked about it before, but I think Gear 5th could be a combination of several Gear 4th forms into one that he can temporarily do. But I don't know if I don't know if it's going to be specifically like any of the other ones. You know what I mean? Showman Lingdo says, Momo talks to Mountain God's child to save Luffy. Mountain God's child making a reappearance. I would really like that, actually. The Mountain God's child is... the Mountain God in general is one of the funniest characters. Just the fact that Odin full-on decapitated this character, and not just decapitated. It wasn't just the head. It was the entire top half of the Mountain God's body was disconnected. That is a death. You don't survive that. It's not something you get stitches from. You get stitched back together to fix. It just doesn't make sense. Yet, it's One Piece. So, even a giant pig is not going to be killed off, even during a flashback. So, Mountain God is just stitched back together the next week. It didn't make any sense. It makes no sense. You just die. You don't get stitched back together. It's not how that's not how stitches work. Oh, who's on top of this stuff? Look at that. The Pirate Hero's timing someone out, and so is Adrian. Who is this person? Alexandra Casagrande. Shoutouts to the silent mods, the mods that don't talk in chat. Alexandra Casagrande. They just do their work. They just delete. Look at that. Deleting messages. I don't even know what you're deleting. Shoutouts to the silent mods. Gecko Moria returns, baby, says Viox. Yeah, I would like a Gecko Moria return. I do not like the idea of Alexandra Casagrande is talking. I don't know how I like that. I preferred you as a silent mod. I'm kidding. Talk all you want. Siam Kakir, thanks a lot. I don't think Luffy will have Gear 5th because he still have drawbacks in Gear 4th. Yeah, I was saying something along those lines because after Timeskip he had perfected Gear 2nd and 3rd, so then he was ready for Gear 4th. Yeah, so back when I made my theory about Gear 5th, I was under the impression, and it looked at that time as though Luffy was just on it with Gear 4th. Like he just basically had mastered it. That's what it kind of looked like at that point in time, because he was just able to use it, casually when he was teaming up with Kid and Law before they even got to Onigashima. He used it with X Drake in that combo attack. It just looked like he had it down. So, my laundry's done. I thought that he was ready for Gear 5th. He might not be ready for Gear 5th yet. Cody Rigby, thanks a lot. Nervous system is consciousness. Yeah, I understand that. I understand it's consciousness, it's awareness. Expanding consciousness is sometimes called awakening. Oh, it is a... But how would that play into his Devil Fruit Awakening? Like, how does it fit? I don't get how it fits. Like, I get that the terminology could be similar, but... You know what's funny? If you're talking about this nervous system stuff, like, so you're saying that Luffy's progression is literally it's that Galaxy Brain meme, right? So his final Gear 5th form is just the final version of the Galaxy Brain where Luffy's mind has reached transcendence. That would be pretty cool. Are you guys talking about Ultra Instinct Luffy? Is that basically what you're getting at? Yusuf Abdullah, thanks a lot. What's the point of Orochi? Do you want me to give you the answer to that? Because I have no fucking idea. Like, I don't know. And right now the point seems to be that he wants to add some chaos and burn the palace down. That seems to be the point. But besides that, I don't have an answer for you. I don't know why Orochi is here. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know what it is. I hope that Orochi. I still have hopes because Orochi has this interesting dynamic of he can keep dying, his heads can keep getting lopped off. So I still have hope that Orochi can, how do you say, play a significant role by the end of this, before this is all said and done. I still have a lot of hope that Orochi, essentially, like there's more to him that we have yet to see, and maybe even more personalities to him that we have yet to see, just because the fruit that he has right now, it gives the potential for that like what happens when all the heads come down? Do things change as the heads get chopped off? Like I don't know. I think there is a lot of potential to be had with Orochi, and I would love to see it fully realized. Alexandre Casagrande says, don't you think this is a little repetitive? The Scabbard's back in the raid. One shot comes back, etc. I think this is the last time. Oh, and we just did 2,000 viewers. I think this might be the first time we've hit 2,000 viewers. I might be totally wrong. But 2,000 viewers, celebration. Imagine this is, I don't know, champagne? So, let me think. I think with the Scabbards, as long as it doesn't happen one more time, it's fine. They had their shot against Kaido, and we saw they couldn't do anything to Kaido. Well, they could do a little bit, but as soon as I said 2,000 viewers, people left. They were like, all right, cool, we got them 2,000, let's dip out. That's fine. We got there. So, I think that the Scabbards, as long as this doesn't keep being a pattern. So, for example, if Kiku goes down here, and then 20 chapters later, Kiku gets back up. That's not cool. Like, that's just not, I don't think I would be on board with that whatsoever. I think at the very, very least, keep Kinemon down if you're having Kaido go after him here. Keep Kiku down. If Kiku survives, that's fine, but don't have her get back into the fray. That's where I'm kind of at with it, because, yes, we got to see them have their go against Kaido and fail, and now we can kind of see them each do their own thing to a degree. So Kinemon got to take down Kanjuro, Ashura Doji, sacrificed himself to protect the Scabbards, essentially. It seems like Inurashi's going to get Jack, Nekomamushi versus Perospero. These things are going to happen. So with that stuff in mind, it seems like they're all just set up to get their own little thing, and I'm cool with that. As long as it's not another case of the cycle repeating itself of like them going down and then essentially, them getting back up again. Z Squirt says, "Congrats, Chelsea FC!" Exclamation, exclamation. So, who was here on stream when I became a Barcelona fan? I became a Barcelona fan on stream. Don't know if anybody remembers that, but I'm a big Barcelona fan. So I don't know much about soccer, football as it's known worldwide, but I have a feeling that we're not supposed to like Chelsea. Or maybe we don't even compete with Chelsea. Maybe they're totally different, separate leagues or something like that. But all I know is that this isn't a post about Barcelona winning, so I'm not really happy. Barcelona rules, says Farzad Yagubi. Is Barcelona like the Lakers of football? I don't really get it. Like, who's the hated team because they're always good in football? By football, I mean worldwide soccer. Joaquin Varela says, Aguero is coming to Barcelona. I know who Aguero is because of FIFA. Aguero. That's how the FIFA commentators say it. Aguero. That's just how they pronounce it. Makes it a very easily recognizable name. Real Madrid is apparently the hated team in football, soccer, worldwide football. So, I am not a Real Madrid fan. I'm a Barcelona fan. Barcelona fan till the day I die. Randy Troy's in here. Hey, Randy, what's up? Kiku is dead, but based on the folklore of Okiku, she could return as a ghost. Don't even know how to unpack that. I made Randy Troy a mod? Oh man, I'm on top of things. When did I make you a mod? Congrats on being a mod. Could return as a ghost. I don't even know. Okay, so can somebody fill me in? I've seen some stuff going around that Joy Boy's been saying, but I don't know exactly what he's saying. I don't know who this ghost stuff seems to imply to me that, also based on what Joy Boy was saying, are people saying that because it's a fire festival and stuff, that spirits from the dead are going to come back. Is that what is being said? Is that what is being said? Can anybody clarify a little bit about what Joy Boy is saying and what Randy is saying? If Randy wants to clarify because he is here, that would also be appreciated. But I don't get the gist of it. Are we expecting that actual dead characters are going to be coming back to life? I do not think I would like that. But if there's some solid... All I know is I don't think I would like that. I would have to see how it plays out, but I don't know if I would like that. Anton says Lionel Messi. Obviously, I know who that is. I'm not an idiot. Cristiano Ronaldo. I know who that is. I also know those are the only two players in soccer because they're the only two players I ever hear about. So I know that there's Messi, Ronaldo, Aguero I know from FIFA, and then those are the only three players. And I assume that basically each league is composed of one of those players, and the three of them just duke it out in varying 1v1s. Artur Chekowitz says, Kaido reverted kin to his Punk Hazard legs-only state the way things should be. Oh, all things come full circle, huh? All things come full circle. Neymar, also recognize that. ZZZ says Sasha Grey, I recognize that. I mean, I have no idea who that is. Never heard of her before. Never looked her up. Is she someone I would look up? I have no idea who you're even talking about. I think, there's. I know a lot of football players. Don't test my football knowledge. It's pretty high. It's pretty good. Shinkai Nai, I should have shown you the non-existent screenshot of Oda saying the raid will succeed. I failed because you'll still keep believing, which... Dude, that's so true, Shinkai. That's a good call. If you showed me the the shot of if you could show me a screenshot of Oda saying the raid will succeed, that would actually make me lose hope. But because you haven't brought me the screenshots yet, I keep believing. That's hilarious. SegGM says the raid has already failed, in my opinion. No, this isn't what I imagine as the raid fail. Like, them having trouble should just be the bare standard. They're supposed to have trouble. That doesn't mean they're going to fail. They're supposed to have trouble. Don Awesome says, if the raid succeeds, Morge needs to go bald. No, that will never happen. I don't think I'd look good bald. So I think that can never happen. Shouts to people who are confident enough in certain things, stupidly confident enough in certain things to put their hair on the line and say, I'll go bald if I don't get this. I don't understand how you do it. That's so stupid. It's just not a good idea. Because if you win, all you get is you get to keep your hair. You already had that. You just get to keep looking the way you currently do. It's just not a good bet. You don't gain anything off of it. I would get it if it's like, I'll go bald if I lose, but if I win, I get like $1 million. Then I can kind of understand. But if you're just saying I'll go bald, what do you get out of it? That's like saying if I lose, I'll cut off my arm. Like, okay. Fucking idiot. Sir Yam Kakar, how have to become a mod? Is there a test I can fill? Listen. So yeah, why don't you... I think this is a question for the other mods. Let the other mods answer. I think I do have to leave, actually, in 5 minutes. I'm going to call the stream in about 5 minutes. And that'll be that. So we got a little bit of time left. But Suryam, why don't you ask the other mods how they became mods? Because I don't feel comfortable explaining the pay to mod the become a mod process. Personally. Kakao says, is Shiki the lurking legend? I don't think so. His outfits and ship are straight from Wano plus the old... No, I don't think so, because Shiki just doesn't feel like a important enough character to me, I guess. Like, I think what sealed the deal to me was kind of how he was talked about during the chapter 957, where Sengoku's discussing the old legends from the Rocks era. It definitely sounded like Shiki was like among all those rocks pirates, Shiki was not like one of the top bananas. You know, he was a significant name, but he was AJ Case's pay for mod. There may be some truth to that. Who knows? I don't know. I hardly remember how I ended up choosing to mod people. My memory is very fuzzy, very fuzzy. I think that Shiki. Yeah, I just don't know if he's big enough to be a lurking legend. I mean, because now we're hearing about guys like Rocks. Like, how much hype has Kaido gotten at this point? Like, I don't know if Shiki matches that at this point. DS Randomizer, what if Blackbeard comes into Wano as the final villain, and we might be wrong about his third Devil Fruit? It won't be Kaido's Devil Fruit, but instead Law's Devil Fruit. That would be interesting if Blackbeard is able to snipe Law's Devil Fruit, because Law's Devil Fruit is amazing. So strong. So strong. It's definitely one of the strongest, period. It's just that I don't think that I think Law, the way he fights, it ends up making him more of a support character than anything else. But I think that the potential of Law's fruit is obviously like tippy top. If so, in somebody else's hands. Someone with stronger hockey, for example. Randy Troy's in here. I'll be going in depth with my review up in 2 hours, but Okaku is what the movie The Ring. Oh shit, gotta scroll back up. The movie The Ring was based on a waitress thrown into a well, returns as a ghost to haunt her killer. Ooh, that's juicy. I would go rewatch The Ring, but The Ring was very scary, so I'd probably never gonna do that. The Ring might have been the scariest horror movie I've ever seen. And I've seen a good amount of horror movies. I don't know, for some reason that one just really hit me. I think The Ring... One thing I don't like about foreign horror movies, or not foreign, specifically Asian horror movies, so like, for example, The Grudge, The Ring, Shudder, it's that... No, The Ring might not have been foreign. Or maybe it was based on... I forget The Ring exactly. But The Grudge, Shudder, stuff like that, is that they have less pauses between the scares. So in American horror movies, usually you can kind of catch the flow of it. Like, the flow of it's pretty predictable, to be honest, for a lot of it. Like, when is the time for jump scares, and when is the daytime where things are nice, and they're kind of just exposition, or kind of just characters talking about how spooky things are happening and stuff like that, and then a certain period hits when you know that things are going to be scary. If you watch The Grudge it just throws jump scares in every other scene. I think it might be literally every other scene. It's just, they don't care. It can be a casual scene, and it's like, fuck it, it's time for the scariest woman you've ever seen in your life to just pop up under a desk or something like that. I don't know. They don't care. They crack the code. They're like, why do we wait? Why do we wait to let them stew in their thoughts and like kind of why do we give them a break? Why give them a break? Just fucking scare them all the time. Okay, what are we saying? Movie twist the folklore. The original folklore is what Oda's referencing. So that's interesting because we've got a lot of that playing into already kind of, if we look at Denjiro, for example, right? So Denjiro's transformation from what he initially was to, I don't know the details of the Japanese myth, but I understand that it is a myth that, or is part of folklore that, like, a certain pain or certain tragedy or something can literally warp you and transform you into something else. So it would be interesting if that comes into play again with Kiku. I don't know if I'd personally like it because of what it would mean for, just in general, the concept of the afterlife in One Piece, or what a ghost would mean in One Piece and everything like that. But depending on how it plays out, I could be on board. It's a lot of it's just depending on how it plays out. I don't like, in general, if too many if certain things happen and it's kind of just like, well, it's part of Japanese lore, so kind of just run with it. Because how important Kiku being a ghost to everything, if she does come back as a ghost, how important that is to the actual events of the plot, or how, like, does that feel a little cheap? Does it feel like, does it feel like it's earned, or it changes how we should consider death in One Piece or something like that, if it's all for the sake of just like a minor character coming back in the Wano arc as a undead spirit, just for the sake of like sticking with Japanese lore, throwing in a bit of Japanese lore. I don't know if I would like that personally. Monkey D. Ben, thanks a lot. Would you consider an Emporio Ivankov cosplay? I'm never going to cosplay as anyone. I can tell you guys that. If I did have to cosplay as someone, Ivankov would probably not be high on my list of top choices. Shiv Patel, what significance do you think Jewelry Bonnie plays in the story? Jewelry Bonnie is my hope. I don't even want to talk about it too much because I've got so many thoughts about what Jewelry Bonnie could be, and a lot of them are too outlandish for me to want to make a concrete theory on it right off the bat. But I like to think that Jewelry Bonnie is a character that Oda always planned to be significant, at that he just made her a supernova to, when one of the editors suggested, like, hey, you should have some more spice to the Sabaody arc, he just decided, okay, let me fit her in as one of the supernovas. I like to think, though, that Jewelry Bonnie has always been a character that was always going to be very, very important, because it sounds as though she's a big, big deal in the world government's eyes. Do you think we've seen... I like to think that she is something related to how the Gorosei, like maybe Im's youth, otherwise Im has the immortality surgery, so maybe that's straightforward, but maybe even the Gorosei, who knows how long the Gorosei have existed, how long that they've been able to stay alive, maybe she's related to the Gorosei's youth or something like that. I don't know, a lot of potential there. Omar Gaskin, do you think we've seen Blackbeard's spy yet? Who do you think it could be? You gotta refresh my memory. I don't know who Blackbeard's spy is. I don't remember when it was referenced that Blackbeard has a spy. If you're saying, like, let's assume Blackbeard has a spy, then I'd say that maybe... dude, I don't have one. Like, that's not on my radar at the moment. I'll think about it and get back to you, Omar. DS Randomizer, thanks a lot. What I mean is Blackbeard has many souls inside his body, and we know that he can use the Opi fruit to swap souls. So what Doflamingo wanted it to use Marijoa's treasure is, which the body is the owner of. So Doflamingo wanted to use Marijoa's treasure, which is the body of the owner. Okay, so you're saying to get your soul into the body of the owner, to get the soul into the body of Joy Boy. Okay, I could see that. It depends. Do you think the body of Joy Boy then is like all powerful or something like that? I don't know if that's necessarily the case. To me, it was definitely implied from the way Oda laid out that chapter that the treasure was the hat. I do think it would be a little cheap if it was a body that was unrelated to what was being shown. But I could get behind that. I would prefer it if it's not a body, though. I would just prefer it if it's not a body. Opi fruit, I would think that Blackbeard would also want it for the actual surgery aspects of it and being able to use it like that. Hey, Anil, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I think that Blackbeard said he has a spy and Wano relaying him information, something like that. So was that in chapter 925 then? Because Blackbeard knows the events going on in Wano? I don't know if that was ever specified, but maybe that is the case. Because last we saw him was just one quick panel in 956. So I don't know if it was ever specifically said that Blackbeard has spy in Wano, or just that, like, this is news that's kind of spreading a little bit. If Blackbeard's got a spy in Wano, it could be Caribou. But I don't know if Caribou... No, Caribou was in prison because Caribou was not able to relay information. Strife, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, Blackbeard never said anything about a spy specifically. So I am going to call the stream, I think, in 1 minute. So I'm going to take one more question, and not a super chat question, so do not super chat anything. I'm just going to pick the Pirate Hero. Why'd you super chat after I said don't super chat anything? No super chats because I'm not answering the next one. I swear, I'm going to pick a normal question to answer. The Pirate Hero, I'll answer yours, though, because I'm a big fan. Did you hear the theory that Kaido knew Joy Boy was coming to Wano, so he took Wano over so he could wait for a good fight / that is a great theory. I really, really like that. That gives some reason for... I mean, it's implied that Orochi provided some sort of incentive for Kaido to come to Wano, but I like the idea that it was a... there's a bit of a double reason to that. That would be very interesting. My eye fucking hurts. I have to take my contact out. So, let me take one last question. Really in Wano? Don't like that. Hiyori saving Luffy. I like that. Peter says your eye okay. No, it's not. Well, that kind of hurts. Hiyori saving Luffy. I could kind of see that. But it depends, like, what's Hiyori going to do? Jump in the water and swim and save him? Kawamatsu saving Luffy, we kind of already saw that. I need one good question. Stuff's going by too fast. Hey, Morge, how are you doing today? Says Miguel Cloutre. So, Miguel is the only one who cares how I'm doing today. This is the first time. I've had probably 6,000 questions over the course of this chat. First person to ask how I'm doing today. Thank you, Miguel. I'm doing fine. First person. Really appreciate that, guys. Really, really appreciate that. What's wrong with your eye? I think my contact's got something in it. What's one good question? Someone said D's nuts. That's always a good question. Morge, what will happen, says Bennett Rogers. Amazing questions. Stop saying short questions. Give me a good question. But don't make it too long so I'll be able to read it. How you doing today? Somebody else asked. It is now asked. All right. Nick says we don't care how you're doing. At least Nick's honest. All right. Let me just pick a question from these. The current anime opening. I don't like talking about anime openings. Justin Dorman says get that guy mod. Yeah, it's not pay to mod. It's compliment to mod. Or not compliment to mod. What is it? What's the word? I guess he asked how I'm doing. What does that mean? It's not a compliment. I guess consideration to mod. Considerate. Just being considerate. Just asking how the person's doing. You wear glasses? Yeah, I wear glasses. Where's the PP no me? No, we need a good question. Why don't you guys have good questions? Why are your questions all so shitty? Why don't you have good questions? And most of them are statements. Morge, are you Sagittarius? No, I'm a fucking Scorpio. Scorpio is the coolest of the whatever you call them, zodiacs. I'm a Scorpio. I'm very proud of being a Scorpio. I was born in the right month cycle or whatever. All right? In fact, I'd go so far as to say that anyone who's not a Scorpio can leave this stream right now. We only want Scorpios in here. Do we have one good question? Will Luffy awaken Wano? I think yes. What do you think about the upcoming theory of Arthur? I'm very excited, because Arthur, when he puts a lot of effort into these big projects, like, they're always something cool. Like, whether or not it's the theory that answers everything of One Piece or whatever, it's going to be something really cool, and it's going to probably bring up a lot of points that people haven't thought about before. So I'm excited for it. I mean, the last thing he put a lot of effort into was that fan comic, which, you know, it is what it is. Like, it was a very high-effort fan comic. Like, the highest-effort fan comic you'll ever see. So I thought that was cool. Will Big Mom bake it to Elbaf? No, I think that she wraps up in Wano. What do you think about art? No, we just covered that. Flower Capital destroyed. Tea or coffee, Morge? I prefer coffee, but I like tea. One good question. What is your birthday? I'm not telling you. Figure it out. Sanji use Blue Walk? I don't think so. I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. What's a good question? Maybe you guys have asked a lot of good questions. No, don't think seeking. I guess a lot of it's repetitive questions, like things that I've looked at or seen before. More, do you think we'll get a Kindness backstory? Yes. Aren't I scared that Arthur will spoil something? I don't. We'll see. If people are saying like, oh, this is spoiler level and stuff, I'll kind of see how people are saying when it comes out. And then if the people are saying it's spoiler level or something like that, or he solved everything, then maybe I don't look at it. Someone said Curry or Lillard. It's not even close. Don't even make that comparison. That's disgusting. The fact that Dame Lillard is in the same conversation as Steph Curry is a joke. It's not even close. He's the most overrated player in the NBA by far. Like, it's not even close. By far the most overrated player in the NBA. Because he gets away with it. People only look at the times he plays well. They don't look at all of the times he plays terrible, which is frequently. Morge, Zippy Dog 237 says, Morge, who is your favorite Grand Fleet member? And the Pirate Hero says, how can I learn to let things go? So these are two very drastically different questions, and I'm going to end the stream with one of them. Who's your favorite Grand Fleet member? How do I let things go? One is a deeper question about how to approach life and how to grow as a person. The other is my personal preference out of a group of minor side characters in One Piece. I'm going to go with this one. I think my favorite Grand Fleet member is Bartholomew. It's done. No, Bellamy. I like Bellamy if we count him as a character. Also, the Pirate Hero, how to let things go. I don't know. What I do is I usually just end stream. That's basically how I let things go.